The following may contain language which will be offensive to some people and inappropriate for children. Still here? Then pour your favorite beverage and let's get this fucking show started.
Fantastic Forum. Assemble. You're watching Fantastic Forum, the premier show about comic books and your live weekly conversation about entertainment and geek culture. We are the Fantastic Forum, coming to you live and direct from the Hall of F. Hope you're having a wonderful morning, afternoon, or evening, as the case may be, depending on where you are in the world. And if you're not, you should stick with us. We'll help you take it up a notch. You have the usual suspects in the building. First, it is our riddle inside of Enigma trapped in Chinese finger cuffs. You don't know him. You love him anyway. He's our silent assassin, Jay.
Hey.
Look, Jay can't get a moment. Jay can't. Thank you. There it is. Let Jay have his moment. Get the drummer some. Get the drummer some.
Somebody clicked and I clicked it at the same time.
Sorry. It's okay. It's okay. Next, he's the backbone, the pillar, the strength of Fantastic Forum, our nigh invulnerable brawler and resident strongman, Moses Magnum. God damn it.
See?
God damn it.
I did that on purpose.
Bam! There he is.
It's me.
It's me. It's me. Moses Magnum. That was terrible. Sorry.
I'm using a weird dreamy lens.
I see you. I'm like you're in the friggin' ethereal plane.
Yeah. Ethereal. Yeah, the ethereal. That's it. Yeah, that's the ticket.
Look, it's almost ethereal. The ethereal. He's in an ethanol plane.
Yeah. right next to Fred Mertz. Ethereal and Fred Mertz.
Indeed. As for myself, my name is Lawrence Young. They call me Mary Young. Welcome to Fantastic Forum. We got a great show for you today because we are going to be talking to you all about the Cankor collection. So we're talking about Cankor today. We're going to be talking to you all about Sonic the Hedgehog, the latest issue, number 63. And we're going to be talking to you all. Oh, I'm sorry. It's not the latest issue?
The next issue came out today.
Oh, confound it all. Wait a minute. I've been sold a friggin' false bill of goods. I can't believe it. Damn it. You know what? Show's over. Sorry, folks. We'll try again next week. Good night. No. All right. Exactly, right? Exactly. So, yeah. So, we're talking about Sonic the Hedgehog, number 63. The issue before last. The issue before the latest issue. Because, I guess we're trying to not spoil it for you. Yeah, that's the ticket. And then we're going to be talking to you, of course, about whatever else it is that you all want to talk about. And we'll let you know how it is you can do that in just a moment. But before we do, we want to make sure that we thank Mr. Scott Rubin, because without him, this show would not exist. So thank you, Scott Rubin. Hope you're doing well, good sir. Yeah.
Did he ever make it out of Burning Man?
Scott Rubin was not at Burning Man. So the answer is yes.
He made it out a couple of years ago. Is that what...
Yes, he made it out. Yes, like Scott Rubin had a family, and now he doesn't go to Burning Man until.
As soon as he stopped going, people started dying and shit, right?
Like, hey, man, listen, I'm just saying.
I think he was like he was like Saddam Hussein up over there. Like he kept those people in line.
Look, I believe you're not the first person that's compared Scott Rubin to Saddam Hussein. He's the one that kept the trains running over there at Burning Man.
Yeah.
They done toppled his regime, and now Burning Man's in the bud.
Now it's burning ISIS.
So yeah, man, it's interesting because I did ask him about it, and it's just a kid thing. It's like because apparently the missus used to go too.
He asked him, "Hey, Scott, what's up with Burning Man? You didn't do it." He's like, he's laughing at him.
Because that sounds like Scott Rubin's laugh. I agree. He laughs just like that most times. So, but yeah. So yeah, without further ado, we're gonna have the intern tell you how it is that you can get down with Fantastic Forum.
Want to get in on the action? Call Fantastic Forum on Skype and join the fun. Too shy to call in? That's okay. You can join the Discord chat room available at
fantasticforum.live.
Join the party. You know you want to.
I agree. You know you want to.
That's what Harvey Weinstein,
say what now?
that's what Harvey Weinstein said.
Oh, jeez.
And Bill Cosby.
Okay. Oh, no. That's not where we're trying to go at all.
I miss Oz.
What is that? Like, speaking of rapists? Is that what that's about? I don't even understand. Like, what's so weird? Speaking of people of ill repute, I miss Oz.
I'm under a lot of pressure to say cringy stuff since Oz isn't here.
Well, hey, mission accomplished, man. It's working. Like, I didn't even realize.
We're only 6 minutes in.
Oh, it's like, if you think this is cringe,
wait till we get to the minute.
Oh man. So, but yeah, do what the intern says. Go to fantasticforum.live. Jump into. You can either go to hit the call-in button, become the fourth member, coveted fourth spot of Fantastic Forum, or you can put your comments into chat, where we'll take them out of the chat room and bring them into the show, such as insert witty chat comment here from me, Jay, please.
Well, Tiger Claw says, so you guys are reviewing a Sonic comic, and from IDW, when are you guys going to review the IDW TMNT comics?
Tiger Claw has spoken.
I haven't been able to keep up with them, unfortunately.
Tiger Claw's like, your clear Sonic bias is showing.
I do like Sonic more than the Turtles.
Oh, how dare you, sir. It's like Sonic didn't carry you through your childhood.
Hey, but it carried him through adulthood, man. You read 63.
I believe you're talking about issue 69, Moses. That's coming later. No.
Leave the cringy stuff to Oz.
I'm helping you. I'm helping you. No.
Don't feel the pressure, Larry. Don't feel the pressure.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. But yeah.
There's a lot of volumes to get through, and it's all a time and money thing.
Are you actually
Tiger Claw? We will get there.
Indeed. And we've reviewed some TMNT stuff. Like, don't get me wrong, we could review more.
Yeah, but, I mean, we did. There's a video of. Oh wait, no, that didn't happen. It was.
The video of us playing the game.
Yeah, there's not that, but there's one.
But we did play it, and we talked about it.
Yeah, and then we did. We did. What is it? The Last Ronin? Yeah, the beginning. Be interesting.
Yeah, listen, we've done turtle content. I don't think anybody can say that we don't. Like, honestly, just now when Jay was like, "Hey, yeah, I'm a bigger fan of Sonic than Ninja Turtles," I was just about to ask him. I'm like, "Is that true? Like, are you a bigger Sonic fan than Ninja Turtles fan?"
I think so.
Oh wow, that's so weird.
Like, I do love the Turtles. I think I might be a little more Sonic.
Wow. Like, because I know you're a big Ninja Turtles fan.
Oh yeah.
I'm just shocked to hear you say you're a bigger Sonic fan. And don't get me wrong, like, I understand that. Like, I know I'm not necessarily that big of a Sonic fan. And because of that, it's not something that we talk about that often. Like, I know that we both have good memories of, like, literally, like, sitting in the room playing together, playing Sonic, like, literally, like, passing the controller around and playing Sonic, but
right.
And playing with Tails.
Yeah, we did a little bit of that too. I mean, I'm good for the co-op.
You know what was a good Sega Genesis game too? Was that Lion King game?
Yeah, it was.
I don't think
Yeah.
that.
Tire Clan Chat says lots of stuff happened in the comics since the recent event, which was the Armageddon game, ended a couple issues ago. Yeah, well, look, I agree with Tire Clan. We should do an IDW spotlight. Like,
Of course you agree. Of course you agree, Moses.
yeah. Oh, look, Jay does too. Look,
Oh, of course you do.
Endless Summer Ninja Turtles one, which is based on the cartoon.
Right. That I was just gonna bring that up.
Yeah, their Endless Summer joints are been pretty good. Like I only read 2 of them, but out of 4, that's like half.
So what we'll do? We'll each pick a property at IDW and review it. The 4 of us. I got Beast Wars.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'll pick something. I don't know what yet. Listen, Beast Wars, like that was like the last. That's the end. Was that the last comic they did? The last Transformers comic?
The last Transformers thing they did, yeah.
Yeah.
But it was good because it was a reimagining of that first 6-7 episodes of the cartoon.
That's pretty cool.
And the art in it is really good. It's kind of like what you did, like kind of how we're talking about the Void Rivals and how like Daniel Warren is doing Transformers art. Like it's kind of like that type of art for Beast Wars.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's pretty good. I forget who does the art.
Okay, no, look, I'm down for that.
Oh yeah, there was a TMNT Stranger Things crossover too. We got to do that. One of us.
I didn't want to do it yet.
You want to wait for Halloween?
No, I gotta finish Stranger Things. I don't want any spoilers.
Oh yeah.
There it is. So
they should do it. They should do it on the show. The crossover, like have them go to New York and deal with the movie, the turtles from the first movie. Yeah, because they could have had adventures before that movie, technically, right?
Listen, I will tell you.
Related, I think we did talk about the Batman Ninja Turtle movie.
Yeah, we talked about that too, and the comics.
I'm not like I don't like I'm like don't get me wrong. If we do it for the show, I'll mess with it, no question. But ever since I saw that crossover, I've been trying to stay as far away from that as possible. Like Stranger Things and Ninja Turtles just feel like 2 things that don't belong together at all. Like I'm like, no, thank you. Like one of those properties is gonna suffer. I promise you. So I don't understand like who was like, oh, it would be great. Like I don't even understand who puts it in their minds like those 2 things make sense together. But okay.
I know I wouldn't.
It's a bad idea. And I haven't heard anything negative about it. I haven't heard anything positive about it.
Yeah, you never heard anything about it at all.
Yeah. So I can't say that it's good or bad.
I can laugh at that as a shareholder. I can laugh at that. You can't laugh at that.
Hey, we're just speaking the truth. Honestly, that's all there is to it. So I'm just like, man, like it's wild. It's wild. Like it's a wild idea, and I don't know who greenlit it, but hey, if it sells, then great for them. But like I said, I like Ninja Turtles. I like Stranger Things. I don't want any part of it. And that doesn't bode well.
It's like chocolate and like
pickle
tamarindo.
Juice.
Yeah, like you like tamarindo, but you don't want it with your chocolate.
Hey, yeah. No thanks. No thanks.
Tiger Class Sonic TMNT crossover.
See, it's another one. Nope.
I would see more like if it was a chaotic TMNT cover crossover. I think that might be able to work. Like, I'm not sure how you bring those worlds together, but the TMNT with the Chaotix, I think that could actually be really good.
What's Chaotix again?
That is the alligator, SBO, I can't remember, Mighty and Charmy B. Like, they're detective agency.
I'm like, listen. Jay is saying things, and I think he's trying. I think he believes he's explaining something to me. All he's doing is further confusing me. Like, I'm just like, these are words that I'm like, I think it's a sentence, but it's not. I'm like, I don't know what Jay is trying to convey. What idea he's trying to convey? I now I'm understanding that they might be names.
I thought they were the nominees at the VMAs last night.
Right. And like Charlie B, you know, friggin' Cisco.
Yeah.
Then like Lil Durk.
The Chaotix are 3, sometimes 4 characters that have a detective agency. One's an alligator, can't think of his name off the top. One is Charmy B, is a bee. SBO is a chameleon ninja. And Mighty is an armadillo.
Now, why is it SBO?
SBO. ESPIO. SBO.
Oh, SBO. Oh, I thought you were saying letters.
No.
I was like, what's that stand for? SPO? I was
No,
like, okay, but his name is actually SBO.
Yeah, in English it's Spio, but in Spanish it's SBO.
Is he Spanish?
No,
it's a joke because when you say squirt in Spanish, you say esquirt, or if you Sprite, Sprite.
Oh,
you have to have been there.
I listen. I don't
I'm
delve in that.
This Oz not being here is fucking me up, man.
Listen, look, I don't delve into that lane of racism, Mo. I don't know what to tell you. I don't. I apologize. I thought, I'm sorry. I'm ruining the jokes. You're right. We do need Oz. Oz would have totally been down with that level of racism. Or I guess not racism when he laughs at it.
He would have said it, and then you would have had the same reaction. But then I could be like, you fucking idiots. Let's keep going.
Yeah. Look, there it is. You're right. Look, good job, Mo. You brought it back. You played both roles. Dang. Mo's doing double duty. Yeah. Jay, make a note. We got to friggin' double Mo's pay because you're doing 2 roles today. Okay. All right. So why do these animal things and the Ninja Turtles go well together then, Jay?
They're detectives, and one of them is a ninja. So if you put that together with more ninjas who like search for crime, like I think that could work.
And they're all anthropomorphic.
They are all anthropomorphic.
Okay, cool. I mean, listen, anthropomorphic isn't necessarily a guarantee that it goes well, but I think it is a helpful thing.
Like Armadillo fighting like Bebop or Rocksteady, like that's tight.
Yeah, I listen. Just the Ninja Turtles fighting an armadillo, I would be interested in.
No, but they're all good.
But they can have. Listen, it's comics, man. They're gonna have the disagreement at first. Then they'll realize.
Yeah. Never mind. Let's not do this.
Mo's like, let's not do. Mo's like, we will be down this rabbit hole, and we'll be like, oh, okay, we got to review these 2 things. we got 15 minutes left to review these 2. We did a whole dissertation on why freaking.
It's like we're going for our PhDs over here.
Robotics. What is it called?
Chaotix.
That's what I said, right? Chaotix and Ninja Turtle. Why are they called Chaotix?
That was just, I'm not 100% sure, but it's the name of the game they premiered in, Knuckles Chaotix, where that was a game.
Oh, it's a Sonic the Hedgehog thing.
Yeah, for the 32X, they had Knuckles Chaotix, where Knuckles was tethered to one of these four characters, and the mechanic was you could springboard off of them to get higher and faster.
Damn.
Actually,
I
a
mean,
pretty fun game, and the music is actually amazing. Like for those early Sonic games, I think that one did have the best music.
okay. Wow, there it is. I was like, I didn't know what we were talking about. I'm like, yeah, okay.
By the time the 32X came out, you were like completely off of Sega.
Yeah, he had lost his
mean,
virginity and everything.
It wasn't off of Sega. Like honestly, it was just like I feel like at that point we probably weren't like maybe were we not living next door to each other?
I'm not sure.
Yeah,
Good question.
because I feel like that is probably more what it was than anything. Because it's not like I was like, oh, I don't mess with Sega. Like I just when growing up, I only could get one gaming system, and so I got Nintendo systems because that's what I liked most. And since I could only get one, I was like, okay, let me go with the brand that I can trust. Like I didn't get like my first Xbox until like I was an adult, and that was like the first like other system I got, and I got that to play like Knights of the Old Republic. So that was the only reason I got an Xbox. Like I was like, okay, I need to play that game. That was it. So yeah. But anyway, okay. I guess we should move on and talk about. We could just make sure like Tire Claw's okay. Like, is there anything else he has to say that we should mention before we get to the comics?
No.
He's accusing one of us of being into anthro comics and furry stuff.
Oh, that's definitely Joe.
Yeah, I love furry stuff.
I do too.
Actually, just started watching the new Tiny Toons reboot.
Wait,
which
what?
doesn't suck as much as I thought it would.
Oh, you said new Tiny Toons.
Yeah.
Okay. Thought you said nude, and I was like, Joe. Like, it was like, dude, that is an inside conversation. That is not an outside conversation, huh?
It's like they're brother and sister now. Like that's wrong.
It's wrong whether they're related or not, Joe. Just just for the record, like just across the board. So I'm just saying, like I was like, what is Jay talking about right here? But I misheard. That's my bad.
The look on your face of relief when you're like, I heard wrong. When you realize,
yes, I was like, oh, gee, I like Jay.
I wish I could rewind reality.
I mean, you can watch it again on the stream.
No.
Like you can relive it.
I barely want to watch the first one.
Damn, there it is. There it is.
Again, I miss Oz.
Right.
I'm channeling.
Okay.
I'm doing like a medium thing, and he's speaking through. Although with him, it's large, but yeah.
All right, let's do this. Let's get to Cankor.
Cankor.
It's Cankor, isn't it?
Comic book
review.
Like
Review.
Well, not like that, but like.
Moses, do us the pleasure, friend. Talk to us. Tell the audience what. Jay's like, I'm out. Tell the audience what.
He knew I was going to listen to him.
What is Cankor? Cankor.
Cankor is a comic that is like the brainchild. See, now Larry's leaving. Of Matt Allison. Here, let's zoom in on Larry just to make fun of him.
Oh, see.
He's listening. He sweats on his chair. Never mind. Get him out of here. There we go. So yeah, it is. So I can't tell you what it's about entirely because it's a very weird comic, psychedelically, logically speaking, and you kind of just have to experience it. But I can tell you how I came upon it, and it was just looking at this cool art, and
Okay.
I knew issues of it were out, and he was only selling them at the tables at conventions. And yeah, I think he did a Kickstarter once, but I was too late for it, and the issues were sold out. Like then there was never a collected uh, volume of it, like a trade paperback. So I tried to buy some issues, and they sold out in the middle of me trying to get like a good set. Like I figured, like if I can't get all of it, I want to at least get like one or two or a variant cover or something, you know. And in the process of that, like the in between issues, so I never ended up buying them. And now about a couple weeks ago, Matt Allison on his Instagram, which I don't even know what it is. Like
It's not
because I
like
know
Matt Allison.
well, in the comic, it's clearly Matthew Allison, yeah, not Matt Allison. But so that's a mistake. You know, you're looking for the wrong people if you look for Matt Allison. But
He
I
goes,
think
but
it
he
might
goes
be.
by Matt sometimes.
Oh yeah, it's Cankor with two R's. So yeah, but yeah, so he does. I just found it like, oh man, he did a Fing Fang Foom. Oh, so good. Um,
Hey man, focus, my bro. Come back to us.
you can't see it because my dreamy lens. But yeah,
Was it
so
animated?
well, it was a video of like
Oh, the pieces.
he's
Yeah,
drawing
got
he's
it.
going
Okay.
through the art. But his art is definitely heavily influenced by old school like 70s comics, kind of like the R. Crumb and kind of
Yeah,
like Kirby as
yeah,
well. So
definitely
it's a
Kirby.
mixture of those two, and the story. So then, about 2 weeks ago, he said, "Hey, for a limited time, anybody who wants it all digital, you can just send me this much money in the DMs, and I'll send it to you. You know,
Mm-hmm.
in the Dropbox link." And he did. That's how I got it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I'm not even gonna try to get the physical because they always sell out too fast. Or in this case, because they're all collected, it's expensive and it's a new edition of it. It's the first edition of it, and you know he's gotta pay his rent. So it cost him a lot to put it together because it's all independent. It's not through a major distribution or anything.
Right.
So it's like I can't really afford. I would want a big hardcover that can also double as my coffee table, but
Yeah.
I'm not gonna do that right now. So I just got the digital, and then yeah, and I finally got to read it. I've been experiencing all these pieces of art on their own, different panels and different things for like at this point I want to say maybe something like 8 years, yeah, without any
That's
context,
crazy.
and I just love all of it. And now when it's all put together in a story, I love it, but I have no idea what to think because
Okay.
because the story is so crazy. Like it's just it's like the way that the easiest way I can explain it is like him working as trying to be a comic book artist and the battle within his brain at the different parts of his psyche. So it's kind of like the movie Inside Out, but it's not refined and sanitized like Disney likes to do shit. This is hard and gritty and ugly. You know? It's like
Yeah.
Herman's on like if you choose to believe that that's what this comic is, it's like Herman's head on like fucking meth, but like dirty meth, not good like Breaking Bad meth. It's like dirty like tweaker meth, and
There
it's
it
like
is.
fucking with him, like the fact that he can't break into comics and all that, and but I loved every second of it, and even though I have no idea what happened.
Jay, why don't you hop in here, man? What was your take? You read this book, right? What would you think?
I wasn't really into it.
Okay.
Starts off kind of random.
Mm-hmm.
Also starts off kind of sensory.
Sensory? How so?
They censored the word fuck.
Yeah.
They do?
Yeah, he did it ironically, but
Like, I could have sworn that, like, I remember seeing the word, like, oh, maybe it wasn't fuck, it was fucking. But,
Yeah, fucking, but it's like pixelated.
oh, okay.
it lets your mind do the work.
Yeah, like, I saw the word. Like, I did, but then my eyes are my eyes, so.
Right. And I don't know, from the first title page, I knew it kind of wasn't going to be for me. And it wasn't.
What was it? What was it about the title page that made you like that set that tone right from the beginning for you?
It was like something like the way it was written and what it was. It was like something Van Halen versus The Clash.
Oh, right.
And I was like, oh, this is not for me.
Ah! You're not a Van Halen fan?
Or the Clash fan.
I don't know any songs by Van Halen.
Oh, that's
and I
not
know
true.
one Clash song, and
A dude
I
that
gotta
loves
be,
like
super
Jay.
drunk.
Jay, you love clear Pepsi.
What?
You used to love clear Pepsi, right?
I don't know if I loved it. Like I drank it.
Did you remember the commercial?
Mm-mm.
Because that was a Van Halen song.
Oh,
But I'm just,
like I'm sure I've heard Van Halen songs. I just don't know them. But yeah, and so it starts off kind of random, like not exactly Axe Cop random, but still pretty random. And I don't know, it just kind of became like white noise for my eyes. Um, and I'm reading, and then I got to the squirrel, which was super cute, and I love that squirrel. And then it was like back to the white noise, and then the book was over. And I was like, at least I got a cute squirrel pick out of it.
the squirrels. I'm trying to
Yeah,
remember if I don't remember the squirrels.
it was from the dream.
Mm-hmm.
It was like a 4-panel thing, and it says something about it being from a dream.
Oh,
And
yeah, the squirrel that bit the guy's finger.
the guy's finger, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Like, I love that was like the point where you're like, oh wow, this got good. it's like a web comic in the middle. Like,
Right.
oh, that's too funny, man. I love you, Jay.
I will say I did not enjoy the art. The art was unpleasant to look at.
Wow, you didn't like it at all? No parts of it?
Hold on. I can appreciate the times where it got intricate.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's one point where the guy's part of his arm is missing and you see inside. And I'm like, oh wow, that's like pretty good. Like the detail in it. And impressive too, because it's probably just one guy. Like I know in Japan, they have like people help them do that. Like Masamune Shiro, his stuff is like super detailed, complex, but he's got people helping him.
Mm-hmm.
So doing that on their own is like impressive. But yeah, I don't know. The art wasn't really doing it for me at first, and then it just became white noise until the squirrel, and then white noise again from my eyes.
So is there anything that you could say, like, pull from it for you, where you're like, okay, the narrative of this comic was this?
At one point he kicked the face.
Mm-hmm.
That was the narrative, right?
He kicked the face.
Yeah. I don't know. It felt. You know what this reminded me of? It
Mm-mm.
reminded me of Super Jail, which
What's Super Jail?
it's this cartoon and it's about a prison, a futuristic prison, but it's all just kind of just random shit happening really quickly, one after another. And it's like, yeah, that's what the book is kind of like to me. It's like just random stuff happening. And I know at one point he becomes like a clone or like a separate part of him, like Clayface does.
This is
And
so
yeah, and it's like I would like to see this animated, so I don't have to work as hard to congest it.
I do
I
really
think it would be better. Like, I really wish you guys had seen Super Jail, because if you could imagine that, but Cankor, like I think you guys would agree that would be a really good match.
and that's where like when I think of the randomness of this, it kind of I don't want to say like I did feel like the Adventure Time vibes, but Adventure Time's narrative is a little more linear and clear, you know. So there is a beginning, middle, and end. Here, it's like I had to check at what page count I'm at to see where I'm at in the story because it is very random and it's really just like the jumble. Like I really feel like it's really just the jumble. He managed to bring out the jumble in his head when he's trying to make work on comics or work on something creative that's and this it became that work, but this isn't the work. Like he was probably working on different things while he had because I think they at some point they were kind of like web comics or something like that, but yeah, it's definitely like I love the art. Like when it gets simple, it's good. Like I feel like the way he does like the face indentations on the masks are really good, and the character designs like they're all clones of each other technically. So it's not you know it's he shows his influences of the comics he liked, and but he, when it gets intricate, I'm like whoa, you know. But there's still like the story is still lost. I was like, yeah, this could be intricate. Like this is a cool, intricate ass splash page, but what's the story, you know? And
Mm-hmm.
so I definitely feel like it was, you know, maybe something therapeutic for him. I don't know. We're along for the ride, you know. And it kind of like it's weird because in my digital library of digital comics that I have that I buy through Kickstarter or whatever, it's right next to COVID Cop. So it's a similar color palette and a similar art style in the terms of like the way they do the cross hatching and the shading and the color separations and stuff. So looking at those two side by side, I'm like, man. And you know, and it's again, it's too it reminded me of that comic in the sense that it's also what somebody's feeling in that moment and they just manage to whatever chaos is in their brain to put it onto a page and tie some story to it. Like I was more interested in the story of the black and white story of him trying to sell comics or going to the concert getting beating up, you know, like so that like felt like okay. And in the end that didn't go anywhere necessarily, you know. So it just it showed us what they wanted to us to see and then intertwined the Cankor stuff too, which I'm all for. Like that in a weird way, it's almost like the never-ending story. You know, like the kids facing some shit in real life and then seeing the shit in this fantastical world. But it wasn't as clear. Both storylines weren't as clear in this book as like never ending story. Nevertheless, I still enjoyed it for what it is. and it's definitely like me liking this art for so long forced me to enjoy it in the sense like, okay, I could just look at it. I don't have to read. If the story did it, I still like watching everything in the order that it's presented. Because I watched it, right? You know, when they do Instagram posts, they just do random art for whatever, you know. So watching it in an order added up more appreciation to the art for me. So, but it definitely is a weird story. I wish Larry would like hurry up and wipe his ass or whatever, and get back to his chair to say what he has to say about it. But while we wait,
I did enjoy this more than COVID Cop. I was actually thinking about that as I was reading. Like, it does have that same kind of chaotic feel to it, but this is a little less focused, which allows it to become white noise. Whereas COVID Cop, you're like aware of it like for the entire time you're reading.
yeah.
And for better or worse, in my case, worse. And yeah, Cankor doesn't do that. So I did appreciate that.
Everything come out all right, Larry? You
Yeah,
flushed
apologies,
out?
fellas. I'm good. Everything's handled. I am back. I apologize for missing the takes.
Yeah.
But you know, y'all can fill me in. I based on what Burr says.
Yeah.
Sup FF, what up, Burr? Good to see you.
He wanted to be the third member since you were out on the trip.
Burr's like, let me take Mary Young's spot. You don't need that. I agree. So like I said, I didn't get to hear the full I heard both of your initial takes. I feel like my thoughts kind of fall somewhere in between the two of yours. In the sense that I definitely was with Jay in that the initial, like I started reading this joint and I'm just like, what is this? Now don't get me wrong. It does start off with Derek H says sup FF. What up, Derek H? Definitely with Burr says, give me the reins. Look, I'm sure Burr would be a phenomenal host of Fantastic Four. I saw like Van Halen versus The Clash, and I was like, huh, okay. Like, let's see where we're gonna go with this. You know what I mean? Like, by no means do I feel like I'm necessarily any kind of huge fan of either one of the groups, but I have more than enough respect for both of them, because, they're both good rock groups. But I was just like, okay, where are we gonna go with this? Like, what's the deal? And yeah, the initial outset of this joint is just very random. And I was just like, I don't know what's going on. Like, I don't know what, like, and I'm sitting here listening, like reading and watching what's happening. And I'm like, am I missing something? And I'm definitely like kind of feeling like, like, is there something happening here that I'm just not attuning to? And I think the answer to that was no. Or maybe. I guess the answer is maybe. I don't know for certain. But what I can say is, at a certain point, it all clicked in. For me. Where I was like, oh, I understand more so like what this is now. And it's even hard to say like there's a particular spot. It was just more so like, as I was reading, I kind of understood the language of the artist more. You know what I'm saying? Like of the creator, I should say, because I mean he's writing and doing the art. And it's like almost
he even quit as his own editor. At one point,
quit as his own editor.
Yeah, at one point there's all it is narrative from the editor like
Oh,
his,
right. Yeah,
but it's
that
him
did happen.
equating himself.
Right. He's like, this guy's terrible to work with. Right.
Like,
And that's what I'm saying. Where
like the job board and unions and shit. Like,
yeah, and it's funny because it's just like I think it was just time to kind of get into the head of Allison a little bit. You know what I'm saying? It is Matt Allison, right? Matthew Allison, right?
yeah, Matthew, Matt, yeah,
Um, like getting into his head more, and also too, like there was like little footnotes in like a couple of the initial issues where he had like um little band, not a little band, but yeah, like it had songs, like like
yeah,
song and it had song lyrics actually. It had song lyrics, and so um the first the first group, I was just like, I don't know what that is or who that is, and so I was like, well, let me play it, and so I did, and I played it and was reading, and I felt like that helped me understand a little bit too, more so like
oh, okay.
where he might be coming from. Like, like I did that for two of the issues basically
Yeah.
because it had like there was like two songs. Then the third thing you saw was like actually a quote from a book, which
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay. I was familiar with the book, and so I was like, oh, okay, like and it's interesting because it definitely is like almost like little snapshots into his mind and how it works, and his like it's almost like taking like your id and putting it into comic form.
Yeah. And that's kind of what I was telling Jay while you were blasting. You're having your own Cuban Missile Crisis, but
Sorry.
yeah, but that's kind of what I told Jay, where it's like it really just feels like whatever he was working on. I don't know what he was working on, but then he made this comic while he was working on something else for like Marvel or something, and his insecurities and everything. Just that page is at in that moment, and then he just added to the next time it happened,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's really interesting
Even the way
because
they break it down, like the whole thing is broken down into chapters, but
mhm.
and then it's parts. So it's like
Yeah,
you don't know which issue like is the
yeah.
end of what part is the end of the issue. Like
Hmm.
and it's almost like watching well, there's other I gave Jay examples like Adventure Time or I didn't tell him that, but I'll tell him now that he's back after having his own missile crisis. Doing the like Mulholland Drive or like one of these David Lynch movies like Eraserhead. It's like one of these things. So appreciating these in other art mediums
Right.
allows me to be open to this. I know Jay didn't
Definitely.
watch Eraserhead, but I'm gonna like
Hmm?
I know you didn't watch Eraserhead,
No, I
but
didn't.
you think we're gonna go see Baby Metal in October, but really I'm just kidnapping you and putting you in a storage locker and making you watch Eraserhead 3 times.
Damn.
I know it
Storage
made a
lockers.
list, and I was like, oh, maybe I should watch it.
You should. Anybody like honestly, if you watch it, you'll have a different appreciation for this. You'll have a different appreciation for COVID Cop. You'll have a lot of different things. Like even Lost. Like you'll enjoy Lost better if you watch like Eraserhead or Mulholland Drive or even Blue Velvet and Twin
That's
Peaks.
the one I
Of course.
want to see. Like, I
Blue
want to
Velvet.
see Blue Velvet. Yeah.
Oh, dude, that's a masterpiece. Like, yeah, that's
There's
easy. I mean,
so many good parodies of it
mhm.
that I just want to see the source material.
Yeah. No, Blue Velvet is a solid movie. Like even as in terms of randomness and weirdness, like for a David Lynch movie, like that is one that is the most accessible, I think, of his movies. Like I mean, maybe the Elephant Man, I guess that's the most accessible one, but that's just doing a biopic on somebody. So it's but he does do it his way. Don't get me wrong. Like it's still a David Lynch movie through and through, but I think Blue Velvet is the easiest one to enjoy of David Lynch's movies.
I did hear Jay say how he made the comparison between Cankor here and COVID Cop, and how you were saying you enjoyed COVID Cop like less. And I can agree with that. Like I feel like this was better than COVID Cop by far. And which I didn't say that Jay said that. I'm saying that. I don't want to put words in your mouth, Jay. I know you say you liked it more. I liked it more too, but I feel like I liked it much more just because, like I said, I almost felt like it's almost like poetry, where it's kind of like it's not meant to be taken literally, but it's trying to convey something. Like it's trying to convey an idea and trying to evoke an emotion, and it feels intentional. And it's like, it's like a commentary on the comic book industry. It's a commentary on like characters, because you have like your Batman archetypes that show up here and there, and you have your like Wolverine kind of thing, and it's like your Swamp Things, and like there's like a lot of characters that if you're a comic book fan, you would know that they're like he's alluding to those characters,
And it's also like on top of that, it's like him dealing with all these like what are you gonna create that's new? Like,
yeah, right.
And the pain that comes from not being able to. Like nobody talks about writer's block when they come if they're doing a writer's panel. Like Bendis says, just keep writing, and
right.
Nobody says it's like it's actually torture or
yeah.
I don't know if anybody feels it's torture. He feels it's torture. I feel it's torture. So I can't shoot these fucking YouTube videos because I got my fucking brains in a knot. Yeah. It's like so it's excruciating. Yeah.
And it's interesting because what I can say is the process that what the work did. Like say for instance, just going back, and I don't want to seem like I'm trying to dunk on COVID Cop here, but just going back to COVID Cop, right? When I was reading and finished COVID Cop, I didn't care to know anything more about the person that made it. I wasn't like, damn, why was this like this? Never once thought, I literally, after I finished reading this, I was like, dude, who is this guy? Like, why did he make this like this? And I went and, learned a little bit more about him. And, it's like, yeah, like the dude, like, I know that what you're saying is right because I read an interview where he said it. You know what I'm saying? Or I heard a podcast interview where he messed around and was like, like the dude stopped doing art for a while because he was like, what's in my head, I couldn't get it down on paper. And I would draw the same thing over and over and over, and it never got to the thing in my head. Like the thing I saw in my head, it never translated to that on paper. And I'm just like, yeah, like this, I felt that in the book. You know what I'm saying? Where it was just like, this is like somebody that's just like, oh man, like I just want to be as good as the people who I like, like, and not able to see that in his own art, like not being able to like look at his own art and be like, my art, and just be like, yeah, it's different, but it's as good, or it's worthy of existing. And I'm just like, man, like it's wild, man. It's wild. Like it made me want to know the guy, the man. So yeah, I think that's probably the biggest compliment I can pay it.
and that's what made me like spring money for this. Like I've been following him for about 8 years on Instagram and just
Mhm.
seeing snippets of these characters and,
Mhm.
and the different issues as they come out, and it's like I want everything. I want it as a sticker. I want a T-shirt. Like before even knowing any of the story, because
Mhm.
whatever you feel in reading the actual collected work, but when you look at these images on their own, they they hit. You know, the,
Yeah, they
the
invoke something.
imagery is striking. It creates a
Right.
reaction. Yeah,
No, I agree, and I know that he does like he'll do commissions and stuff like that. Like I mean, you showed like so, or showed earlier some of the stuff he does. So he'll do like other characters and things like that, and like the art is pretty striking because his style is unique,
yeah,
and it brings a different flavor to like characters that you might already know and enjoy. But it's really interesting because as far as I know, I don't know if like has he done any actual work outside of his own independent stuff? Because
I don't think so, man.
I don't think so either.
I think he's done, maybe little mini comics or web comics here and there, but I he is if you look at his page, like he's followed by a lot of different like actual like mainstream artists. Like they were
Yeah, yeah,
and the reason I also wanted to talk about this too is because the last guy I didn't get to talk about died of fucking cancer. So
oh,
let me bring him up before he like judging by this book he might kill himself or something. but,
oh,
but you never
I
know.
think
Fuck it, you never
yeah,
know.
you never do
Life,
know. It's
life,
true,
but
but
I want to celebrate him before and then mourn
right,
him properly after. You know, and
yeah,
but yeah, it definitely like he is like on the convention circuit and stuff like that. He's known, but I don't think he's ever done anything that I've seen, or even like maybe he did it and had to do it because that's another frustration, like doing it the Marvel way or doing it the DC way, and
right.
editorial gets in your head, or they'll clean it up for you after the fact, and take away your
Hmm.
signature. Like we've seen that happen. So maybe he's done stuff like that, and that's part of where the frustration comes too. But yeah, nah. As far as I know, I don't think he's worked on anything mainstream. Yeah,
Yeah, and I mean, I do know that based on what I read and what I've heard from him is like like there was a point where he literally like just stopped doing art and just like he was gonna throw all his stuff away, and his wife convinced him to like don't throw it away, just like put it away. You know what I'm saying? Like put it all in a box and put it in the garage, and he like literally just stopped drawing, like I guess professionally, for a number of years, or I don't even know if it's professionally, but he just decided to stop drawing. And he's apparently still had like sketchbooks and stuff like that he did. And so it's like it's interesting because it definitely is like he kind of has a bit of the tortured artist kind of vibe, but not in a pretentious way, like
right. Like
in a very run of the mill, relatable kind of way, where it's
yeah,
like
and like let's maybe get the hero initiative involved, kind of way. Yeah, like,
I mean, I don't even know, like, because that's the thing. Like, it sounded like it's not like he didn't have a job. Um,
come on,
he wasn't-
like, if you're an artist, whatever job you have is not the job you want.
right,
Yeah,
and that's true, and that's
yeah.
true. Like, it's yeah, yeah. So
I mean, you got to
that's
be.
true.
Like, I don't even know how to explain it, but you do got to do like you got to find a peace within your like mild mannered day job person and your superhero persona as an artist
Right,
to be able. You got to find
right.
that balance, and that's. I can only speak to that just judging how I have been doing things with like
Hmm.
creating a business to fund this shit, you know?
Right,
So
right,
that I don't have to rely on other people to do it my
right.
way, to do it how I like it, and to help you guys flourish
Hmm.
and all that. So,
Hmm. Hmm.
not artists don't have that mentality that I have because I'm more business minded than art minded,
Hmm.
you know. And
Hmm.
so, yeah, I can tell you from artists I know personally, the job they have is not the job they want.
That's true.
Ideally, they don't
That's
want
true.
to have a job. Yeah.
Right, right. Yeah. Um, it's like it's interesting just because like I do feel like the the art itself definitely feels like the draw, but I do feel like the narrative that eventually comes, because I don't feel like the narrative was there from the beginning.
Yeah.
But the
I can't
narrative that kind
even
of
really say what issue it comes, right? Because it's like in between chapters.
it kind yeah, it develops. It kind of develops because I know like even with like even the things where like you have the little like what feels like the little web comics in between, you
Yeah.
know, or like the little like the comic strips that happen in between, like the little interludes or whatever. Sometimes, which it's hard to call it an interlude because it all kind of feels like an interlude, but um even those at a certain point kind of feel like they go together, and I do know again because I was like, okay, uh like what, like why is this guy writing this stuff like this, like who is this guy, like a lot of that stuff is autobiographical, like I the one that comes to mind is the one with when he goes to the concert
Oh yeah.
and the guy hands him the flyer with to come see his band, and it has like his art on it, and he's like, hey, where'd you get where'd you get this flyer made or whatever? He's like, oh, I'm a drummer or whatever. He's like, oh, that's my art. He's like, oh, I don't know, the drummer just comes up with the choice. It's like, I don't know what to tell you. And he's like, oh, okay. And that actually happened. And it was like one of these things where it's like, I guess he threw it out or something. And I guess the guy saw it and was like, that's awesome. And took it and made it a flyer, which is something that happens to him, I guess, semi regularly, because like he was like, I read another story where he had a friend who did that, where his friend came over and I guess he was like, man, it's garbage. I'm just throwing all this away. And the friend took one of his paintings and took it home and framed it, because he was like, well, I was like, this is awesome. I'm not gonna let him just throw this away. He
Yeah.
kept it, and he didn't tell him for years. And then he was like, hey, I want to show you something. You threw this away.
I know. I have a baby Doctor Strange that Dante did from like
Mm,
15 years ago that I still have in storage because it's I'm
hmm.
not gonna let him throw this shit out. Like,
Absolutely. And you're right. Like Dante is definitely that kind of dude too, where he just
yeah.
sometimes just draws something. He's like, it's not good enough. And it's like, my guy, so much better than 90% of the people that are out here trying to do what you're doing.
Sometimes like I agree it's not good enough, but it's not bad. And it's like
Oh yeah.
you look at like a Greg Land and it's like like he doesn't throw things away, he recycles them.
He's like one man's trash.
Yeah. So it's like literally like you just sell your garbage to him and everybody will think, oh, he's turned a new leaf, he's fresh now. Yeah.
Right. Right. So, but yeah, man, I think, this is definitely the kind of book where you kind of have to decide. Like, I will say this. I feel like it's best to go into this knowing what it is you're going to be experiencing to a degree, or knowing like the kind of experience you might be having. I could totally understand, especially like, Jay, if you're just like, someone just drops this on you, like, hey, read this for the show. It's like, you kind of have to be in a particular zone to really kind of appreciate a book like this. and it's a little bit better if you know what you're getting into. And even then, you still might not like it because this is not the kind of it's not for everybody.
You're like
It's
reading
not.
somebody's diary, and you don't
Yeah,
know who it is. Like you
yeah,
found it in the garbage and framed it. Like,
yeah, yeah. But I personally, I can definitely say that I'm glad I read it. I'm glad you proposed this, Mo, because
right.
this is not the kind of thing I would have picked up on my own, and or even necessarily the kind of thing that even if somebody had told me about it, it would be like something that okay, that sounds interesting, but I'll not you have to experience it to know what it is that you're actually missing, and it feels like something that I totally would have backburnered and maybe not gotten to soon as I would have liked to, knowing what I know.
Yeah, and I'm glad you had that reaction, Jay. I'm glad you had your reaction because it's not that like as soon because I hadn't read it when I suggested it to you guys. I just knew him from his art with no
Mm-hmm.
kind of context or anything. And I'm like, well, I bought this. It's time to do it. Like it was kind of Kickstarter thing. I can't make a video out of it on my own. Let me let's do it together. And I feel bad because in pre-production I was like, what are we gonna talk about first? Like Cankor. And I feel like he read it. He's like, I'm not making it tonight. Like he's like, fuck this. you know. but in comics, you kind of have to just go through that experience sometimes to really know that you don't like it. Even if you don't like it
Yeah.
or you do like it, you do have to go through that experience. So he's like, never
Oh
mind.
yeah.
He probably didn't like. I have all these ideations in my head of what he went through. Looking at it, he's like, I'm not reading this, and so I'm just not going to be on the show. But
That's funny. Yeah. Anybody got anything else you want to say about Kanker before we rate it? Jay, what would you rate Cankor, my friend?
I would give it a 2. It's not for me. There is something there though.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the art is intricate. A cool ass squirrel. But not for me.
Fair. Moses Magnum, what would you rate Cankor?
I would give it about a 4. The narrative is what it is, but this is like watching. I hear all these people that went to cinema school and film school and talk about the Battleship Potemkin and the Seventh Seal and all this shit. And this is one of those things. Like, if you want to have a master's in comics, you kind of have to read this too, and find some appreciation for it. So there's something there. Like, it's not for like I hate Battleship Potemkin. I love Seven Samurai. I love what the other one, the one with the armies with the Kurosawa. I can't think of it right now, but like that, great films. But would I rather watch Dumb and Dumber? Yeah, but those are standards. Like you don't get to Dumb and Dumber without. And this is one of those. Like it's something that if you want to draw comics, read this. Because it's the way it handles sequential art is an art in and of itself. The way it handles character design, just naming the characters on a theme, like it's super kitschy,
Yeah,
and it's like that. That's
definitely.
where like if you like your Adventure Times and stuff, this is something you might like. But if you also gotta like David Lynch too. Yeah, I feel like you can't you gotta like surrealist, expressionist films as well as Adventure Time to enjoy this. So it's like for me, I like all those things, so it puts it at a 4 out of 5.
Yeah.
If I was
Yeah.
judging the art on its own, it'd be a 10, but that's different.
10 out of 5.
Yeah.
I think I would give it a 4 as well. Like, and that even surprises me because I don't know, like it's just something about it. Like it definitely is. It's greater than the sum of its parts, and I feel like it's a I don't know. Like it took me on a journey. So
Well, even like the
yeah.
meta aspect, like the comic book itself deals with that, and then you researching the guy and learning about him like that,
Mhm.
it created a whole different experience. Comics don't do that. Yeah,
Yeah,
like
yeah. Not every comic does. I agree. Like very few, and you know, I honestly, this is the kind of thing where it's interesting because I feel like you'll like this will happen in the comic form, and you know, I don't know how much critical acclaim this book has gotten or his work has gotten. Um, but I feel like this is the kind of thing like if this joint was like animated, people would be like in those circles, people would be talking about it,
it'd be
and
a
you
good
know.
midnight movie at
Yeah,
this
yeah,
point.
it would. You know, it would be the kind of thing that would be getting like all these like little animation awards, and people would be like, you know, oh, have you seen Cankor? Have you seen Cankor? You know what I'm saying? And then, uh,
Cankor,
huh?
Cankor,
How do you know it's Cankor?
because he loves like the Fing Fang Foom and all these Kirby type monster characters where the onomatopoeia is the name, and they usually are over enunciated.
Okay, Cankor. Okay, cool. Hey, either way, like I just kind of feel like it would be the kind of thing, and you know, where it would be winning awards, and people would be like, maybe we should watch that, and then you know, like
Watch what?
three quarters of them would be like, I don't know what I just watched. You know, you know.
Yeah, it's like watching that like Disney Salvador Dali movie, the animation that never came out. Right? Have you ever seen that? Like
I'm not sure what we're
Di-
talking about. Like, if it
Disney.
never came out, then probably not.
No, I mean it came out on the internet eventually, but it was like a Salvador Dali movie, like based on his paintings that Disney did, and it's like there's no real narrative to it, just a bunch of stuff. You know, Fantasia ended up becoming what they were trying to do with that, but
Right.
and but it was more a more homogenized version of what they did with the Salvador Dali thing because that shit was
Yeah.
fucking weird, you know.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. No, I haven't seen that. Sounds
uh,
interesting. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Um. Well, look. Now for a change of pace. Sonic the Hedgehog, number 63.
since we're on the theme of not knowing what's going on,
That's too funny. Jay, why don't you talk to us about Sonic the Hedgehog 63?
Okay.
Jay, Jay, why are you acting like you didn't know that this might be coming?
I thought you were gonna do the breakdown.
Why? What made you feel like I was gonna do it?
Um, it just seemed
I
like
can if
something
you like.
you would do.
The
no,
thing
let
Yeah.
to
him
do.
do.
Okay.
No, you suggested it, Jay. You do it. I had
No,
to do
let her do it.
I had to do Cancor. You got to do
Oh,
Sonic.
look, it's true. You did have to do Cankor,
I
and
was
that's a
hoping
lot
Larry did
harder.
that too.
Like, turnabout's fair play, Jay. Sonic 63.
Like
Okay.
Mr. Terrific.
So in the first story, the Diamond Cutters are basically going to start training. They have a new member named Duo who is infiltrating them and trying to start shit. And he gets figured out pretty quick, but there's no proof of his misdeeds. And our second story is just Blaze and Sonic hanging out, sightseeing.
The end. Oh, yeah. Okay. No, I guess that pretty much sums it up. Um. So, look, it's interesting because you know you said you talked about the diamond cutters, And this comic did have like a like a story so far page that kind of recaps some things.
Mm-hmm.
And it also had like the character page, so you have like the little box with the picture of the character and their name and kind of like what they're known for,
Right.
and it did like the affiliation kind of thing. And it's so funny because I did I read the the story so far stuff, and I liked it because it kind of did like little bits, which I don't know if those are actual panels from previous comics or if it was like something that was like drawn specifically for that, just because I haven't been reading Sonic. So it struck me as previous panels, but I don't know because it could have not been.
Right.
It didn't do a lot to help me in regards to the story. I was just kind of like, I mean, I'm getting these moments, like I get it, like but I was like, okay, this is like some TV shows are like that too, where they're like previously on and they show you a lot of clips, and it's like that was no narrative, that was just moments, like what I'm saying, like you did not tell me not one thing about what this story, what has happened up until this point, and obviously some shows you can't do that. Other shows you can, and you just choose not to. And sometimes, I get it. Some shows are just like, hey, we want to give you these moments because these are the moments that are significant to what you're about to watch. And I get that sometimes too, but I was just like, okay, this did not do that for me. And then so I'm reading the character thing, thinking like, okay, at the very least, I'm going to get like some names and some faces and maybe some like abilities or something, what makes it special. And it was funny because the first one was Sonic, and it was like fastest thing alive. And I'm like, okay, got it. Like, I'm familiar with Sonic. Look, we're batting 1,000 here. And then the second one, I can't remember who was the second one, but it was like something, and then it said Diamond Cutter. It was like and each one's an animal, so a lot of them have animal names. So I'm like, okay, such and such the animal. And one thing I've always had an issue with Sonic is none of the animals look like what they're supposed to look like. Like, like Sonic animals don't look like the animals. They're super stylized. You know what I'm saying? Like Sonic the Hedgehog doesn't really look like a hedgehog. Like, that it's a hedgehog because it's Sonic. But if you had no idea what Sonic the Hedgehog was, you wouldn't look at Sonic and be like, oh, that's obviously a hedgehog, right? But the other this other person, I can't remember what the second one was, but it said Diamond Cutter.
Tango the Lemur.
There you go, Tango the Lemur. And it's like Diamond Cutter. And I'm like, oh, okay. Tango's a Diamond Cutter. Got it. Then I saw the other one, and it was like such and such, and it said Diamond Cutter. And I'm like, okay. And then the third one said Diamond Cutter. And I'm like, why are all these animals jewelers? Like, what is happening? Like, I don't like it's so funny because I'm sitting here like, until I got to the bottom, I was like, okay, so this must be like a group. But I'm like, someone could have told me that there was a group like that. That could have been in the previously on, right? Where it was like there's no mention of the group. But I'm like, okay, look, I'm smart enough to infer that Diamond Cutter is not a profession at this point. Once I got to the third one, I was like, okay, this must be a group. Why they're called Diamond Cutters, I don't know. Like I don't know. Like I guess like there are like emeralds in Sonic, right? So I don't know if it's like
there's
like
chaos.
No, see, Sonic hasn't been MCUified yet, so no one has decided that boys don't like emeralds. we gotta call them stones, chaos stones. So
yeah, I forgot why. Like, I forgot the reason for the original Diamond Cutters being named that.
Mm-hmm.
But they're a tribute group.
Tribute to who?
The Diamond Cutters. The original Diamond Cutters.
Joe, who are the original Diamond Cutters?
It was Whisper, Mimic.
Jay, See, again, Jay is out here about to say a string of words that he believes is an explanation, but he's like, whisper, mimic, Bobo, too fast. It's like, well,
Basically, they were a mercenary group.
Five
you.
chains.
5 chains. Little slip knot. It's like
Regular sleep.
I'm just like, dude, I don't know like what, but it's a mercenary group. That's what I need to know. The Diamond Cutters are a mercenary group, and so this isn't the original Diamond Cutters. They're a tribute to the originals.
Right.
Got it. So I did understand that. Okay, they're a group, and they're training for something. I don't know what.
Just general training to get better at the things they do.
Yeah, but what are the things they do?
They're like a special squad. Like they do infiltration. They do
Infiltrate what, Jay? Like they fighting for freedom, but for what? From who? Eggman?
Yeah.
Okay.
Their last joint was infiltrating one of his cities that was reproducing uncontrollably.
Okay. Wait, does Burr have the actual information here? Is this?
Yeah, Burr has some information. I believe. I have faith in Burr. Where he says Sonic agreed to help, asked if the team had a name. Tangle suggested Diamond Cutters, and Landolin liked the idea, while Whisper glared at Tangle and looked angry for Tangle using that name.
Yeah, Whisper was part of the original Diamond Cutters team, and they ended badly. And so she was kind of upset that Tangle used her old team's name. And
why didn't Whisper just say something in the moment? Whisper like, nah.
Well, Whisper is more reserved. She holds things close to the vest. So eventually she does
answer game.
Right. And why she always whispers.
Yeah. I did notice that.
Right. But yeah, eventually she does like ask her what's up with that. And they sort it out and the name stays.
Okay. Yeah. It was interesting because I know that my experience too, I was reading and I'm like, is this a Sonic the Hedgehog book? With no Sonic the Hedgehog? Which
they have a really huge extended cast and they're not afraid to use them.
Yeah. And luckily there was the backup story and I was like, oh, there's Sonic. But I'm like, Sonic is on vacation. Like Sonic's like, hey man, I don't know what y'all talking about or what y'all trying to do with all this training and stuff, but me and homegirl, we about to go see the sights.
They did just leave a self-replicating city.
They left a self-replicating city?
They beat a self-replicating city.
Oh, jeez. That sounds tough.
Sonic just wants to chill.
Got it.
The Diamond Cutters, they want to be prepared in case they need to do something again. But Sonic, him, he wants to chill. He'll fight when he needs to fight, chill when he gets the chance to chill.
Yeah. Now, Moses, what was your experience with Sonic the Hedgehog 63? Like, how were you feeling about it initially?
So when Jay suggested it, we're like, well, is this like a good jumping on point? He's like, well, it's in between arcs, and it could be in between arcs. But I thought I had no idea what was going on with Cankor. I had no idea what was going on here. even with the like previously on, like I realized like I got annoyed at that previously on page because the paneling is all weird. But I'm like,
Yeah,
okay,
it is weird.
I'm like, okay, it's just a stylized paneling. I'll put up with that right here. Luckily, being a shareholder of IDW, I did get my hands from 1 to 64. To,
Okay.
but I didn't go back yet and read them, but I have the option to. But
I
yeah,
thought, I thought you were gonna say like, and so I read them all.
yeah.
I was like, wow.
I had no idea what the Diamond Cutter was, who they were, and like the only Diamond Cutter I know is Diamond Dallas Page's finishing move, you know. So that's it. Like I don't know nothing else about it, and you know, I knew Whisper Whispers. I figured that out. So I like those characters, but I'm like, you know, trying to read a Sonic book. Yeah. So
Do
there's
you know those characters? I don't know any
no,
of
no,
those
no. I
characters.
enjoyed them in the moment. Like once I
Oh,
got
got you.
past that weird paneling, I was able to enjoy what they were or appreciate what they're going through and everything right now in this in between issue.
Hmm.
So it was actually like okay, like you know, I if I was a bigger Sonic fan and knew
Hmm.
more about this, like I'm sure this would probably hit better. And
Hmm.
then I just got to the backup story, which was the Sonic story, and that story had like way more character development in it through converse. Like it's almost like two different people wrote it, which that's probably the case, right? That's what happened. Like two people wrote it.
It might be. I don't know.
Yeah. So, yeah, it is definitely better executed. Like if you're gonna do a short
Yeah.
story and give us like what we need to know about those characters, like that backup did it, and it's like as a shareholder, I'm like IDW man, we need to talk about how you're handling these books. Like the other one should have been the backup. At least for this issue, I don't know what you guys
Yeah.
got, but if this is the jumping on point, this is what somebody suggested for me to read as a jumping on point or as a point where I
Hmm.
can come in not knowing too much.
Yeah.
th- yeah, that Sonic needs to be at the beginning. Yeah,
I could definitely see that because you're right. Like there is definitely more. Um, you get a little bit more character moments in the second story than the first one, but at
I
the same,
everything I needed to know about Blaze, I learned in those few
right,
panels. You
right,
know,
and especially like if you're not familiar with that character at all,
right?
it was good to
It literally
and I
took
do
three
feel like.
panels, and I'm like, I'm in. I want to see more of this. Why this? Why wasn't this a full issue?
Hmm.
Yeah.
And I mean, obviously the backup story has the benefit of only dealing with two characters versus the initial story, which has like literally like 6 or 7 people in it, right?
But it's more
But
pages too,
it is more pages. I think you're
and
right in that. But
it has the previously on too, and it doesn't do the job. Like,
right, and
yeah,
I think that's the main thing where it's like it's more about the execution of it because you can have a shorter story with that many characters and you still focus in on 2 or 3 and you learn more about them. I feel like the only character we learned anything about um in that first story was maybe Duo, maybe. And even then it's like we didn't learn much more about him than what they told us on the character page, right? Like it's like this guy might be a double agent. And it was like, okay, we learned that.
with a
So
name like Duo.
right, exactly. Like they definitely telegraphed it, but it's okay. It's like that's Sonic, right? Like Sonic is fast, Knuckles is tough, Tails has two. Like I'm not. I will say, ironically enough, I know that my big takeaway was I wanted to know more about Silver, and Silver is probably the other character you get a little bit of character development for. It is Silver, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And I was just like, I've never heard of that character before. I'm assuming it's a character that got made up for the comic. I don't know,
No,
but
he was in the games.
which ones?
I don't remember.
Oh, like I'm just saying, like I mean, I didn't know Silver was in the games, but it must have been like some of the really like newer ones. I would assume. Like I don't remember. Like I feel like the from a
Oh, Burr says he was in the '06 Sonic.
okay, so I don't know which Sonic is the '06.
Hey,
Huh?
I know everyone talks shit about the '06 Sonic, but it can't be that bad
Why can't it?
because the main thing people talk about is irrelevant or inconsequential, dumb.
What is it?
They don't like the Sonic and the princess like have a little romance thing going on.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah.
Like I grew up reading Frank Cho, so
Oh, is it like the princess is like human?
yeah,
Oh, okay. They're like, we're not down with the bestiality.
yeah,
Right. Is that which is not quite bestiality because it's anthropomorphic love or something, whatever.
right. Like bestiality is supposed to protect. Like the reason
Right.
that's wrong is because they can't consent.
Right. But Sonic's down for it.
Right.
Right. Um, but Silver,
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that seems like an interesting character. Like, his psychic hedgehog. And, he had like a little bit of characterization too, because he like was like kind of down on himself a little bit and trying to doubt. Like, he was like, oh, people didn't back me up. you know. But I was like, yeah, but I don't know who that character is, and I was like, I was like, I didn't know that they had psychic hedgehogs at that point.
He gets a
So
lot
yeah,
more
I think
time in the next issue.
he's a lot more what?
Shine.
Oh,
Like the
got you.
next two stories are about him.
Yeah, yeah. And so that's cool. Like, but yeah, I know for me, again, like I mentioned earlier that I'm like more of a tangential kind of Sonic fan. And so like I feel like the last additional hedgehog that I knew about was probably Shadow. Because Shadow comes after Robo Sonic, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Mecha
Shadow's
Sonic.
probably oh, is it Mecha?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Mecha Sonic. It's like Mecha Godzilla. So but yeah, so I didn't know.
It's Metal Sonic, not Mecha.
Oh, Metal. Okay. Either way. Yeah. So, how'd y'all feel about the art?
Love it.
Okay. There's both Metal and Mecha. Is that true? Are they the same character or are they different characters?
No,
But
they're
Metal is
different.
the more famous. Oh. So Metal is the one I'm probably thinking about. Which one is Mecha Sonic, I wonder?
He's another one, but I guess he has different color scheme.
Oh, jeez. That's wild. Okay. But yeah, you love the art, huh, Jay?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think that the art for Sonic has been pretty consistent for a while lately, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. How about you, Mo?
Can you repeat this question, please?
Oh, how'd you like the art?
Oh yeah, no, the art was good. Like yeah, I always say it's been consistent, but the covers always look good. Like I know in this one they had the what was Scrapnik Island, like the that little event they had a ad for that, and I'm like, man, I want to read that because that cover looks so good. This cover looked good. They even had a couple variants for 63 that look. They all look good. They're stylized, but they still look good, So the art and then the interior art, it was good too. So
Yeah.
no complaints in the art. Like my biggest complaint was mainly the story, but it's not even that much of a complaint. It's just my fault for not reading what came before.
No, I mean, yes and no, right? It's like comics. I guess it depends on your philosophy on comics, I guess.
I would actually blame me for that. Like,
I was thinking,
reading it, I'm like, you know what? This might not be that great. Like, the issue before is actually a better jumping on point.
Yeah.
Than this issue, and that's my fault.
Yeah, but either way, I mean, it's still a good experience. Like, it's an experience, and as a shareholder, I like to know what these people are up to with my properties here. So it's like, yeah, you know what? Swap the backup to the main story for moving from 70 on, please. I know it's too late for the rest of the 60s, but from the 70s, yeah.
If you read the issue before, it makes a lot more sense to have the Sonic story in the back.
Okay.
See, go ahead, Mo.
No, I can see that, but it's I wasn't tasked with reading that. Yeah, but
no, that was my fault.
Yeah, but realistically, I mean, I did grab 1 through 64 because I'm like, just in case I want to have access. I just didn't have time to go back and do it, because normally, like, if something feels wrong, I'm like, I don't want to judge this book like this. I want to read what's before. So I do try to do that. It's just time didn't let me.
You know what the messed up thing is? Like, there are some stories that are outside of those 64.
Yeah.
You still need to get the whole story.
Oh, jeez. No.
And
why?
They are literally some of the best stories.
Why don't they just cut the shit and make it into a manga?
I don't know.
Yeah, fucking IDW, man. We need to storm the boardroom and be like, what the fuck, dude? Like, come on. Like, we're trying to sell this shit, like, for our benefit. I don't want to do negative. Like, when we talked earlier about doing the IDW spotlight episode, it's like, yeah, no negative reviews, but realistically, it's like they're leaving us no choice. Yeah. Like, we need to go to that boardroom and be like, hey, man, what the fuck? Hubert?
You said Hubert or Hubert?
Hubert. Fucking tighten that chain on these motherfuckers. What the fuck? Like, who's like, do you guys even like comics? And then the boardroom was all these financial guys like, no.
I know, right? Like,
it's like, that's why we're here, you cocksuckers. Just take a shit right on the table.
Wow. Is that the solution?
Succession.
Is that how we get better comics?
Like, I'll go in there like the dude from Succession. Just have a stroke right in the boardroom. And by stroke, I mean stroking my cock.
Oh, jeez. There it is.
But yeah, like Bad Guys and Imposter Syndrome aren't part of that 64, but they are like some of the best Sonic stories.
So what?
They still tie in though, right? They tie in too. They're part of the universe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, Sonic isn't in Bad Guys, but I don't think he's in Imposter Syndrome either. Syndrome.
These fools are out here just using Sonic's name to sell books. They out here like, come read the next Sonic the Hedgehog adventure with no Sonic the Hedgehog.
It's like extended universe for Star Wars. Like, if they can do that with Sonic and make it good, as an IDW shareholder, I'm all in. I'm up for that.
No, they are amazing. Like, those two story arcs are amazing.
I believe it. I guess I'm just saying, like, if you're gonna, I don't mind using the Sonic the Hedgehog name. I'm just saying, like, do like a Sonic Tail Diamond Cutters. You know what I'm saying? Something like that, so that I know that my book is about Diamond Cutters and not Sonic the Hedgehog. But that's just me more like, hey, listen, I don't have a giant franchise, a multi-million-dollar franchise that I get to push and that might be why. Because I'm out here trying to be too honest, like trying to mess around, and like don't want any kind of or don't have a problem with brand confusion, you know. And that's the thing, because if you just start putting diamond cutters, cats are gonna be like, "What is that?" Right? They're like, "Well, why do I want to read a book about animals that are jewelers?" And you're like, "You're right. You're right." Just put Sonic the Hedgehog.
Tiger Claw says if you don't know who Silver is, he's a hedgehog from the future.
I know that much because I read the character description.
And
I know that he's psychic.
Burr says it used to be worse in the Archie days with Ken Penders. He did so much original stuff that was just out there and is all angry and bitter now that they move from it. And you know, some of those were really good too. Like that's like I remember that one cover with Shadow where it's like you're just looking over Shadow's shoulder and all the other characters are like in terror. Like, it was so good. I think Mark Millar wrote that book, but yeah.
I believe Kim Penders was the guy that was doing Sonic Universe, which was mostly just stories in the Sonic universe without Sonic. So just doing like all kinds of extended universe stuff.
Is Sonic the least interesting person in the Sonic the Hedgehog universe? Is that what I'm hearing? Like, this is what I'm hearing. Like, other people are more interesting.
I wouldn't say it like that.
Like, I mean, it's okay. Like, it's like think about Mickey. Like, Mickey is definitely the least interesting person in like the Disney universe. Like, Mickey is vanilla, and he's supposed to be vanilla. Is that what Sonic is? Is Sonic the Mickey? And it's like, cause like think about it. Like Donald Duck, Goofy, all these characters have more of a personality than Mickey does. Mickey's the face.
Yeah, I don't even think. Yeah, I would say no.
Okay.
But
because Sonic definitely has a personality. I know that.
The way that Burr says it is, he says right here, well, he's kind of like Superman, I guess. A little overpowered, just overpowered and straightforward. So that means that leaves room for anybody around him to be a little more interesting. You know, like when you have like in a Justice League, like, you know, it's easy. You know, that is an argument like that I would say, but, you know, these people don't know how to adapt Superman that way.
Right. Right.
So it's like, yeah, you say that, but it's not. Sorry.
It shouldn't be that way.
Yeah, no, well,
it's just how it might be.
Right. And with Superman, it's yeah. He goes, haha, yeah.
Yeah.
But I guess that's a good way to put it. Like, if he's the guy doing everything, you gotta you gotta spice up everybody around him, you know?
Yeah. I hear that. So okay, that's interesting. That's really interesting. Yeah. I should say I like the art too. Like, it fits the comic very well. Like, you know, it's kind of hard to that's what Sonic looks like. And that's what people in Sonic's universe should look like. So, you know, I can't knock it. And, you know, it's one of these things too where, and I feel like it's hard to get away from an art style, at least somewhere in that vein, because I feel like it doesn't translate to necessarily to other art styles, you know? Like, I don't know, you don't get, like, if you had a realistic Sonic, it would be creepy, you know? Like,
yeah.
Sonic.
They try to do that, and, you know, they put the kibosh on it.
Yeah,
in the movie.
No, it's messed up. Like, no, you don't want that. Like, it's like
how about that Sonic teaming up with the Michael Bay Turtles?
There it is. That's what it is. That's what we need. Everything just looks so like really putting the mutant in mutant, right? Putting everything look like a mutant for real. Like, golly, you're like, this is terrifying. They should release that in October for Halloween.
Imagine the latex masks at like Spirit
Oh,
Halloween
there it is.
versus Jay loves.
He does. He does. So, all right. Anybody got anything else they want to say about Sonic before we rate it?
Nah. Aside from Jay, we need to storm that boardroom. Yeah. We'll do it right after the Baby Metal concert.
Nice.
We're all hopped up on mushrooms and all that.
Because that's when IDW executives meet. Right after Baby Metal concert. So, like, we need everyone there promptly at midnight.
Well, if all you motherfuckers invested too, that's what you need.
They're like, meet at the pizzeria just outside the Baby Metal concert.
There's no pizzeria. There's a cemetery.
No, that makes more sense then, right? Okay.
What is the stock at anyway? Like, I haven't even paid attention to that.
I could not tell you, Mo. Jay, Sonic 63. Huh? It's time to buy?
Yeah, no. I can't say you can't. No. I didn't say that. I don't want that. I don't want the SEC on my ass.
There it is. What would you rate Sonic 63, Jay? Sonic the Hedgehog.
It's a little hard to look at it in a vacuum, just because when you're reading,
yeah,
it all comes together. Like, but if I was looking at it in a vacuum,
you don't have to do it in a vacuum.
Oh, that's a 5.
Okay, well there you go. There it is. Like that's your take on your experience. Like if you want to talk about it in a vacuum, you can rate it different, but you don't have to. Like,
I still think it works in a vacuum too. Like, yeah, like the first story is good. That gets your adventure up. The second story is character development and shipping fuel. Yeah, like what more can you ask for? Adventure and shipping fuel.
Is that like an actual like term of art? Shipping fuel?
Yeah, it's a term.
Like I know shipping is. I've just never heard it like shipping with fuel.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. Okay, I just that's interesting because for a second again, I was almost like how I was with Diamond Cutters, where I was like, shipping fuel. Like I don't remember any shipping fuel in that story. But then I was like, oh, he's talking about shipping. Got it. Right. And fuel for shipping. Yes, that I get. So
yeah, there's a scene with Blaze and Sonic holding hands.
Yes.
And she blushes.
Yes. Is Blaze in the games too?
Yeah, she's in the.
That's crazy.
I want to say she was in some of the Game Gear games.
How many characters? So are all those characters that I read about in this comic? Are all those characters in a game?
No.
Okay.
Tangle, Whisper, Duo. They are original. Oh, and Lanolin.
Mm-hmm.
They are original, I believe.
Okay.
Burr says she was in Sonic Rush on the DS.
Damn, Burr. I didn't know Burr was a Sonic fan like this. Or is Burr just Google it? Either way. Look, thank you, Burr. Moses Magnum, what would you rate Sonic 63?
IDW has been labeled the pink sheet, and they won't let me invest more money. But part of it is because of this issue. So yeah, this is a 3 for me. Yeah, I blame Jay for this 3. I might have to do it with an asterisk and maybe come back if I get when I catch up or whatever. But it wasn't an entirely unenjoyable book.
Yeah.
But I do need IDW to step up and make some of these books a little more accessible when they're in between arcs like this, because the stock's at 50 cents right now. So it's like,
Wow.
Larry, you could even afford it, Larry.
There it is. I'm gonna become the president of IDW. I'm
Yeah.
like,
So
you're welcome.
I might take
You're
out
welcome.
a full like house title loan, just buy as much as I can, and really put these motherfuckers, like, light a fire on these motherfuckers.
There it is.
Yeah, I don't need that. Like, we need to be doing better. Fuck this skybound Transformers shit. We got Star Trek. We got Star Trek and Sonic. When's the new game coming out? Let's make comic book companions with that shit.
There it is.
First off, Sonic Rush was cool because it had a soundtrack by Hideki Naganuma, who did Jet Set Radio as well.
Yeah, nice.
Jet Set Radio was an amazing soundtrack.
It was a good soundtrack.
Like, I wish I could go back and play Sonic Rush, but I don't have a DS.
You can get the music from it online.
Oh, but I want to play it too.
Yeah. I mean, you can get it. Like, aren't they doing a Switch, a DS emulator at some point? Like, that's what we're banking on.
Ideally, I mean, they've brought virtual consoles for a lot of the other ones. Why not DS?
Tiger Claw says you should check out Sonic Frontiers. You may like the game. I purchased that a while ago, but I don't have anything that will run it.
Oh, you did like Steam?
Yeah.
Got it. The Steam Deck will do it?
As soon as I get a gaming laptop, I can play it.
Get a Steam Deck. I think right now they're on sale, like a 50% off thing.
I have to double check if it's if that one is Steam Deck certified, because not every game is Steam Deck certified.
Yeah,
that sucks.
I got to play with one of them. I enjoyed.
Why don't they fucking fix that? Like,
why don't they just let you play on your phone like cloud gaming for Xbox? Just call it a beta and call it a day.
Listen,
because I do have a Steam Deck.
Yeah,
I got it when it was on sale.
Yeah, they're trying to keep stuff on PC. They're trying to keep PC alive. If they start letting you play stuff on the phone, they're like, we're killing PC ourselves.
Like, my phone stutters when I turn on Wordle.
But that's your phone, like, And don't get me wrong, my phone stutters with Snap, so I but I have an old phone. Like, I actually need to get a new one. I was trying to go today and I wasn't able to. Yeah.
So real quick, Sonic 63, I'm gonna give it a 3 as well. The end.
No asterisk, no nothing. Like, yeah, it's a 3.
No, I mean, I'm just like, because again, my philosophy on comics is, I really feel like every issue you should write it like it's somebody's first, and it's not like to say, obviously the comics medium is a serial medium, so you're not gonna be able to like catch somebody up on every aspect of the story, but even if I don't know or have a good sense of like the bigger picture, I should be able to like hone in on what's happening in this issue and feel like, okay, this issue is telling me this story. And, I don't know like that this story, like this issue kind of does that, but it kind of doesn't. It plays a little fast and loose for the first story. Like, I get it. Like, they were training and there was an incident. I guess that's the story, but it's kind of like you could have given me a little bit more context. Like, you could tell me what they're training for. I don't know. Jay told me. So now I know. But I'm just like, I'm just like, they could have given me that.
Again, I will take the blame for that.
No, listen, you didn't write the book.
but 62 is a better jumping on point.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, it's literally like one bubble of dialogue, and there was room for it Because it's not like the joint was like full of words. Like it'd be different if you're like, hey, we had a lot of plot points we had to put in there, so we had to cut the fat. It's like, no, there's no cutting the fat. Like somebody just was like, they read last issue, right? And it's like, what if I hadn't though? Like, and this is the thing where it's funny because I know like talking to different comic book collectors, like it's something for me where like people are always shocked that I feel okay with just picking up a random issue of a book in between the middle of an arc. They're like, you can't just read and start in the middle of the arc. I'm like, well, why can't I? Like, that's how I came into comics. Like, my first comic was literally like the last issue of like a 5-issue arc. And it was literally just like a book I picked up off a shelf or off a spinner rack at 7-Eleven. So I'm just like, it looks interesting. The cover captured my interest and they gave me a full story. And I was like, man, that was awesome. And I'm like, I want to know everything that led up to this. And I bought every issue of that arc that led up to that. And then there was all the little asterisks in it that were like, if you want to know more about that, read, refer back to this. And I started buying those issues. And then next thing you know, I'm like, you know what? I think I just buy this comic now. And that's it. That's it. And every time they have X Factor, I've been buying X Factor ever since. So just as I feel like comics today can do that. And they can do it better because like the whole when I think about it, it's like we didn't have previously on pages in comics back then.
No. It was all done through either captions or dialogue.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and we didn't have
I think we
character.
Did.
Huh?
I feel like we did. Like I remember when I was reading Transformers, I would normally get a previously on.
I mean, that could be true, but I would venture to say that it might be Transformers later in the 90s, not what I'm talking about. Because eventually it did come. And we eventually got like character pages and things like that too. But I'm just saying, like when I first started reading comics, that wasn't a standard practice. Like everything was literally just dialogue and asterisks, editor's notes, like literally saying, hey, if you want to know more about that, go buy this issue. and guess what I did? I went and bought that issue because I was like, oh, because the way they wrote it, it was intriguing enough. Like it was like, okay, they told me what I needed to know from the story that I'm reading, but it doesn't give me enough details to be like, I'm like, what's the Ascani War? Like I get that such and such got messed up in it, and that's why his face looks like that. But what was it actually? And then, and that's just like a random reference. Like that wasn't actually the reference, but
Right.
It's something like that where it's like, but if I wanted the full story, I knew where to go to get it. And if I didn't care, guess what? I don't care. Don't have to go buy that joint at all. I could just decide, you know what? I don't need to know more. And sometimes I didn't because some things you're just like, it's like, I don't know if I really need to know like why Toad changed his outfit. But, maybe next time. So.
Okay.
All right, gents. Look, I guess it's about that time. There it is.
Out of here on time when Oz isn't here.
Look, imagine that. Jay.
Oh, hold on.
Some final thoughts. Oh, Burr. Random question. Have you guys read Goblin Slayer? I don't remember because the author of that is doing a manga featuring a few HoloLive VTubers that's actually kind of funny called Yamato Fantasia. Oh, okay, that's good to know. I have not read Goblin Slayer. Have you all read Goblin Slayer?
We didn't read it. We did watch the anime.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one where the goblins kept peeing on the girl, right?
Yeah.
That didn't happen. It's like
Oh, he
that was
says he-
Mo's takeaway.
The link he gave us is Bert's like, yeah, lol. So, I guess it happened in the book too. But the link he gave us is a link that we can read it all for free. So
Nice.
uh,
Cool. No, look,
he
It-
says
it's,
this is less controversial. You gotta check that out.
it-
How can I get
yeah.
this link? I can't copy. I can't.
oh. You can't. You can copy the whole thing though, can't you?
No, I don't have access.
Oh. Then
Put your,
it's
just put it, Yamato Fantasia into your search bar.
Oh yeah. He says on our Discord you can do it. Perfect.
okay. Sweet.
Yeah.
Put it in the Discord. Thanks, Burr.
I just paid.
All right. All right. Jay, why don't you give us some final thoughts, man?
If you haven't checked out our Fillmore special, check it out. It's good.
I agree. Thanks for putting that up, Jay. Appreciate you.
Oh, no problem.
Yeah, I
Well,
watched
Smack-
it. Pretty good stuff. I had no idea what it was or that it existed. But I really enjoyed the intercutting to the animated series. Like while you guys are talking about it, that really, like, that's what I like to see on our channel. So, yeah, it's good shit.
Nice. Like it then.
I did on
Okay,
my
good.
three of my accounts.
Awesome. That's what I'm talking about.
So
That's
we
what I'm
got
talking
three. So we got 3 likes.
You're hilarious. No, I liked it too. So that means at least 4. Look, we
I
gotta
also
convince Oz
liked
to watch
it.
it. Oh, 5! Woo! We're cooking with grease, baby. Most
Yeah,
the final thoughts.
As far as my final thoughts, I just went online and bought one of Matt Allison's sketchbooks. So if you're a fan, I know we didn't showcase his art as much as I would have liked because I didn't have time to pre-produce what I liked about the art for the review. But I'll show you some of his art right now
Yeah.
from his sketchbook. So this is one of the things he's doing, and there's a variant Secret Wars cover with Doom on it, and you can take a look at that. And I
That's very cool.
I don't know who that other guy is, but it's like 64 pages of that style of art. And then there's another one that I want to share as soon as I can see. Yeah, and so if you're like a fan of like Berserk, I think he did a homage to that here. So you can check that out. And then if you follow him on Instagram, he did do he just posted right now like a work in progress, and he's drawing magic. So
Nice.
let me see if I can share that.
That other picture looked like Cameron Hodge.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. I don't know what it was. You know, I'm just sharing. Yeah. So, but yeah, that's right now on his Instagram. He's
Oh, that's very cool.
working
Wow,
on.
see, that's like a different style though.
Right. Yeah. It's more like his style taking on magic, and then you see like what he's using for reference there. I don't know, like
Mhm.
the New Mutants comics, and he printed out a bunch
Yeah.
of stuff, the older stuff. So,
Mhm.
he did a Judge Dredd that looks amazing, but you're gonna have to go on our Discord for that. And
Damn.
I think I put it there. And then his Fing Fang Foom, which I alluded to earlier, but you're gonna have to follow him on Instagram for that. I'm not screenshotting that. I'm done screenshotting for the night. Aside from that, like, subscribe, hit the bell. Like, we got more stuff coming down the pike. More concise reviews of the stuff we do live. That's one of the things we've been doing, and then we're still trying to work with my own insecurities to film more stuff. And yeah,
Agreed. Look, thank you so much for hanging out with us. We do appreciate you. We'll be back next week. So until then, we are the Fantastic Forum. Good night.